I heard a cha-ching yesterday and I'm like, holy moly, what in the world sold for 300 bucks? Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Picker. My name is Kevin and we are in the Commonwealth cabin. And today we had a bunch of sales for some really good money. One bit of bad news though is we didn't have a Homeschool Hustler store sale, so we're not gonna have Turner in here. I had to just tell him. He's been trying to save a little bit of money lately because it's his sister's birthday. Actually, when you hear this, it will have been her birthday yesterday. I think that's when it is. So if you're watching, Reagan, happy birthday, baby. As a matter of fact, I heard a cha-ching yesterday and I'm like, holy moly, what in the world sold for 300 bucks? And I didn't even know what it was. And I didn't even know my wife had got it from somebody, did a consignment on her own, took pictures in here, listed the item, and it sold. I'm like, what is this? Where did you get this? I knew nothing about it. So we don't always do consignment, but from time to time we do. Also sold some cool old stuff that people kind of forget about. Matter of fact, one of the earliest videos that kind of caught for me was about cassette tapes and 8-tracks. And what I mean by caught on was like more than one person watched it in a day. It wasn't amazingly popular. You can go back and watch it. It was actually pretty brutal. But it started to get a couple of views every single day. And I think it still does to this day, gets a few views every single day, which I think is funny. But it's about a particular item that I look for. I don't often find them, and when I do, they're not often worth money, but occasionally I find them and they're worth pretty good money. So let's take a look at that. Come on. All right, so here are the items. We're gonna do them one at a time. And the first one here is an 8-track. Obviously, it's Huey Lewis in the news. This is sports. And this is, let me see if I can find a date, probably early 80s, 1983 on this one. And that's kind of what I look for. I look for those 8-tracks. They must have, I probably should have looked this up. They must have stopped making 8-tracks in the mid-80s. I just can't see 8-tracks being produced in, say, 1989. So that's kind of the first thing you look for if you're looking for 8-tracks. And then just, you know, use common knowledge. You'd be like, hey, you know, Huey Lewis, 80s for sure. This might be worth a little bit of money. And it is. It's actually a pretty good one if it was in better shape. So the pads, if you look inside, there's one way you can look inside of those pads. And I'm no 8-track expert here, but if the pads are missing or loose, you're gonna have an issue. This one, actually, the tape itself looks pretty good. People that collect these, they know how to redo them. And there are some people out there who buy a bunch of these things, and that's all they do is sell 8-tracks. And so it's not a terrible idea if you come across some that are decent to lot them together and sell them off, because the great majority of 8-tracks are really worth nothing. But there are a couple kinds that you can find. The quadraphonic ones that have the cut. I think I said this in the other video if you want to go look at it. But there is a quadraphonic 8-track that they made for those particular kinds of stereos. And those can be worth some really, really good money. Just try this out. Just go to 8-tracks, completed listings, and then highest price plus solds first. And then start scrolling down. You know, those really extremely hard to find ones will be at the top. And then not too far down the list, you'll find the ones that you might be able to find out there. And the quadraphonic, maybe type in quadraphonic as well, and you might be able to find it. So I listed this one and I said, hey, here are the issues, untested. I used to have an 8-track player, and then I found another one at a garage sale. So I'm like, okay, I'll list the one that I have. That's typically how I do that. So I have one to test with. And then I sold that one off. And then when it came time to test an 8-track, the 8-track that I had bought at a garage sale didn't work. And I have not been able to find a small portable working one since, unfortunately. So right now I'm not testing these things. I'm selling them basically untested as is, which isn't that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest with you. And don't be too discouraged by having something in bad condition. Now, awful condition, it's going to be hard to sell. But you rarely find mint 8-tracks. Unless people have stored them methodically, and they're hard to find like that. But Huey Lewis, I thought, might be worth some money. Found it at this amazing garage sale, along with a few more 8-tracks. And let me show you one more that sold. That one was 15 plus shipping. This one right here is Madonna, Like a Virgin. And this probably is the same year or 1 year later. It is 1984. And, you know, you look at that and you'll be like, hey, I can't believe they made Madonna 8-tracks. And that's the kind you want to pick up. A lot of bands in the early 80s you might find are worth some decent money as well. Def Leppard is one. I've sold some of those in the past for some pretty good money. But I saw this one in that lot, and I'm like, you know, this is in pretty good condition. It is missing the pads. So if it had the pads on it, this might be a $70, $80 8-track. In my opinion, you know, I could figure out how to fix this thing and test it. And if I did that, I could get top dollar for it. But I didn't do it. I just decided to list it and get it out the door and make a little bit of money on it. This particular sale, I paid $52 for everything I bought. And I bought an absolute ton of stuff. And so just those two come up just a few dollars short of paying for everything. So those are a couple things, you know, if you don't look for 8-tracks out there, most people don't. Most people bypass that stuff. Keep an eye out and look. Most of the time you're going to find, you know, where I'm at, most of the time you're going to find old country stuff, which sells in my antique booth but doesn't sell particularly well on eBay. It's the bands and it's the pop music stuff with good artwork on the cover that usually sells. All right, here's a vintage magnetic Scrabble. And I probably underpriced this, to be honest with you. I put it out there for 20 plus shipping, and it sold pretty darn quick. I only paid $1, maybe $2, but I think I paid $1 for it. Probably should have put it out there for $24.95 and waited to Christmas. I probably could have got it, but you know, it was in pretty good condition. And this is an old school one. It had everything with it. So I'm happy to get the 20 for only spending $1. You know, we often find NRA stuff and camo stuff out here where I live, and this is an embroidered Nra bag. And this, is it raining out there? Nope, it's just the cicadas. And this bag, I usually pick these up for maybe 50 cents or $1 when I'm out, and they sell. They don't sell for big money though. This one was in the store a long time, but I got $11 plus shipping. All right, I got one thing in the back, but I wasn't thinking about pulling it here because it was from a viewer, and they bought a bunch of stuff from inside, some clothing, and they wanted to lot it all up. And I forgot that I had one piece out here. So let me grab that real quick. Have a viewer sale, but I want to show you 2 more really cool sales here before we go in the eBay cave. All right, the first one, let's see. It's the New Jersey bin, and it's these Nautica pair of shorts. And I pick these things up often, you know, not necessarily Nautica, but just any kind of interesting looking swimsuits. And I will list them, and they usually sell off in the summer. You know, if you go to a garage sale and they have 50-cent clothes or a quarter clothes, I'll take a quick glance, and if I see a pair of swimming trunks that have some cool colors, I usually pick them up. Because, you know, if you pay a quarter or 50 cents for this, your fees on this for 14 bucks are going to be, you know, around $2, and you're going to ship it for around $4, $6. You know, you're going to end up making $6 to $7 with about, in my opinion, about 7 minutes of work. And that makes these well worth it. And every once in a while, you get lucky and find a really cool pair that'll bring 20, 30, 40 bucks. So I love doing that. All right, and the next vintage clothing here is this sweet little shirt. We bought this when we bought those Dare shirts. And I loved selling those Dare shirts, and they sold really quick. I put this one on Depop as well, thinking it might sell on Depop, but it sold on eBay. I like it because it's obviously vintage. The vintage sportswear tag, made in the USA. But I like the colors with it. It is clearly 1980s. It is single stitch. I don't know if you can tell it on the camera or not, but it is a single stitch shirt. And I'm like, you know, the surf plus the colors and it's vintage, made in the USA is going to make this thing a seller. And it did sell. It sold for 20 bucks, so it is not a huge seller. But let's run the numbers on that real quick. $3 in fees, $3 to ship. That is a light, thin shirt. It is going to stay under 4 ounces. So $3 to ship, give or take. $3 in fees, give or take. Paid a quarter. It's about a $14 profit, just a tick under. So I love that kind of sale. All right, and here is the big sale. One I didn't even know I had in my store, thanks to Blue Ridge Mama. How do I open this thing? All right, I gotta do this gently because this is a $300 sale here. And there's a little damage right there, but I think this thing is brand new. At least she tells me it is. And there she is. There's the princess. Speaking of vintage 80s. And this thing is wrapped up, never been taken out. It is a Princess Diana doll. Wedding doll. I wonder if it's dated from then or not. That is an interesting question. The Franklin Mint. So that is pretty cool. And it's a $300 sale. $275 plus shipping or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's about right. So there she is, Diana. And this was a consignment sale, and I don't even know how much I've made on this deal. Typically when I do consignment, I do 50-50. After all the fees, after everything, 50-50. So that's typically how I do it. I find it's not really worth my time unless you're doing it at least that much. But I could conceivably, you know, if you're going to sell something for $275, you know, a 60-40 split's still making you quite a bit of money. So if you're doing it with family members, I'm not going to say, hey, charge them 50-50. Although a lot of family members will be like, here, just take it. So I don't know what Cincinnati Picker does. I don't know if he does that with his mother-in-law, with all his mother-in-law sales. I'm not quite sure. But I'll have to ask Blue Ridge Mama what our cut is. I hope it's 50-50. Depending on who she got it from, I doubt it is, though. All right, we got a viewer gift from Alan. And this was really, really kind of you. We really do appreciate it. He says he lives 10 minutes north of Bennington, which is located in the southwest corner of the state bordering New York and Massachusetts. You being a history buff may recall that the Battle of Bennington in the Revolutionary War, we have a monument here which is 306 feet tall, which commemorated this site. And he says the battle actually wasn't fought in Bennington, and it actually wasn't even fought in the state. It was fought in New York, which is kind of strange but true. I always enjoy your videos and love to see the great deals you get at yard sales. So Alan, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the plate, because the Vermont plate is one we were missing. So I have a bin that I just got the other day, and I'm like, this thing needs a plate. So this bin is going to be the Vermont bin. We're going to put it right there. All right, but we're going to have to wait and do that a little bit later because we got to go in and check out and see what's sold in eBay. Okay. Hey, sold one of these sets again, Glenn Beck. They're both signed. This one is signed and numbered. Christmas Sweater DVD and the Christmas Sweater novel. And this one's going to a viewer named Anna. Thank you, Anna. She says, hello, I'm a fairly new viewer and love your channel and your family. I especially love the nature clips at the end of the videos. I'm about ready to move to the middle of nowhere because of those. So that's awesome. All the best to you and your family, Anna. And I do live in the middle of nowhere. It's not completely in the middle of nowhere, but it's a little town about 10 minutes to the north, and then two, you know, mid-size cities, half an hour that way and 45 minutes that way. So technically I live in the middle of nowhere, but I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who really live in the middle of nowhere. So to me, being from the metropolis of Southern California, I feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere. My wife, who used to live even farther out in the middle of nowhere, feels like she's closer to civilization because there's a Walmart about 10 minutes away. All right, the viewer I was talking about out there who bought the Nautica shorts also bought these 4 Under Armour shirts, and I thank you, and Blue Ridge Mama thanks you, because Under Armour is like the bane of her existence right now. My AC just kicked on, so my apologies. Anyway, these went out $38.80 plus shipping. We're going to combine the shipping on all 4 of these things and send them out to them. I don't think I'm going to be able to get 4 shirts and a pair of swimming trunks into a flat rate padded, but we'll figure out a cheap way, and we'll send you the difference there with all of those buys. So thank you so much, and it's headed your way. I think it's Caleb, K-A-L-I-B, so we do appreciate it. I have an internet going out to Tracy and one going out to Danny. Hello, just started a YouTube channel and just started watching you. I'm doing mine with my son and love seeing you and your family get involved. I got started thanks to John Cincinnati Picker, and he came to my shop and he was a huge help. Keep up the great work, and if you ever get a chance to check us out, Tradin', no G on the end of that, Tradin'-Post Pickers. We are new and learning every day on editing, but we're mostly just having fun bonding time, which as a father means the world to me. Thanks, Danny. Means the world to me too, Danny. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we are sending this your way. Now make sure to see Tradin'-Post Pickers. He came to your shop, so you have a shop. So you must be new to YouTube. I don't think you're new to eBay, but you're new to YouTube. So hopefully, would you do me a favor if you would, and would you take a picture with you and your boy and put it in your shop and take a picture for us and send it to our Instagram? Thanks so much. We would appreciate it. All right, I haven't sold backgammon pieces in a while. Whenever I sell 2 backgammon pieces, I wonder about my life choices sometimes. But haven't sold too many, which means that some of you out there, you need to admit it in the comments, have stolen my idea of selling 2 backgammon chips and making about, you know, two and a quarter profit every time you sell one, which if you're willing to admit that in the comments means you're a little bit crazy like me. So. All right, now a viewer sent me messages like, hey, could you just give me an offer on all these? I sold 8 to them because I thought that's all I had for 72 bucks. So $9 a piece, free shipping. We're into it for maybe a dime each. And we're going to ship them off medium mail to you. But I actually just figured out I have 5 more. So I wish I would have known that beforehand. Maybe, Randy, you would have bought the rest. Either way, we do appreciate it. And they're headed your way medium mail. I don't know what you're going to do with all of these, to be honest. So tell me in the comments or send me an Instagram and let me know what you're going to do with them. Maybe you're flipping them on Amazon. I don't know. Are these selling on Amazon? Let me know. All right, this one is going out to Oscar, Clara, and Chloe. They say, hi, we're absolutely loving watching your channels. We have learned a great deal from you. We currently have 2 storage units full of items we need to get listed, and our basement is loaded also. Hopefully this item will help us get things moving and flowing a lot smoother. Wow, so are you just buying, folks? You just have to buy? You know, when you call yourself the Pack Cats and you have a storage unit and a basement full of stuff here, are you addicted to the buy? Everybody just loves the buy. I love the buy. I love to go out and garage sale. I have tried to control myself a little bit more than I usually do buying, but I just love it. I just love seeing stuff that I think is cool, and I'm like, how much? I want to buy that thing. Either way, that's awesome. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope this guy gets your basement cleaned out. Appreciate it. And yes, that time the pun was intended. Hey, I had a yellow shirt hanging back here a second ago. You probably saw it when I edited it. But this is the one that sold, and it sold to Karen. It sold to a viewer. There's no message on here, but I think you sent me a message because we're going to combine shipping on these 2. And let me show you what else you bought. Here is the other thing. Got this from that dollar. Everything was a dollar. Look at that. I had to... Danny May. Hope you're doing all right, by the way. Bought this from the dollar. Everything was a dollar garage sale, and that was a fun one. We bought a bunch of stuff for $1. Obviously, everything was a dollar. And this took a little while to sell because it's an off-brand. The reason I bought it, even though it was an off-brand, is because it had the box, and I knew I could put this in my antique booth for $2-3 at the worst case. If it wouldn't sell on eBay, I could dump it off in there. But it did sell. It is tested. It is working. So Karen, if you have any trouble with it, just let me know. But if I remember, it has the bubble, the original bubble in it still. And so this went along with the t-shirt, $18.76 plus shipping. I think we'll be able to get it under first class and give you a pretty good little discount on it. I'm not positive though, so we'll have to check that out. So thank you so much, Karen. All right, got one going out to Jenna. My AC just cuts off as the last sale of the day. Finally figured out the meaning of this plush. Had to get one for my store. God bless you and your family. All caps, let's get things moving. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, and we hope he does get things moving for you. 186, it says, available. All right, I don't have a Homeschool Hustler store sale for you today, so I get to say goodbye to you from in here for real this time. And thank y'all for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next.